Good day, everyone. Today, I am going to talk about some of the effects of urbanization on our natural environment. I particularly chose this topic since, for me, this is the most relevant issue to talk about now that the world is heading towards more urbanized and industrialized processes. Human existence is dependent on nature. We depend on it for our basic needs, our food, shelter to give us warmth and shade, water we drink, and the air that we breathe in. All these make human survival possible. In the 20th century, it was debated that the Earth has entered Anthropocene, an era where human influence has become the dominant driver of changes to the global system. It is the era where human activities are shifting the natural conditions beyond their limits for their own benefits. Urbanization is a process that leads to the growth of cities due to industrialization and economic development. It represents the movement of people from rural to urban areas. Currently, half of the world population lives in cities, and it is expected to grow to 60% by 2030. The global increase in human populations contribute to environmental transformations causing biodiversity loss, seasonal degradation, and climate change on an almost global scale. Urban ecosystems pose an increased demand for environmental goods, particularly in water, food, land, and fuel. This growing resource usage, large stress on water supplies, the living environment, and in human health. The demand for food usually impacts the agricultural areas. The intensified demand for agricultural production to meet the food requirement of the urban populations often lead to soil degradation. Also, high demands for marine resources like fish also puts marine ecosystems to stress. This leads often to overexploitation. Moreover, pollutants are either dispersed across cities or concentrated in industrial areas or in landfills. As urban areas are expanding faster than urban populations, it suggests that the world will require increasingly more land to build cities and supply urban consumption. Energy use in urban areas are generally higher than in rural areas. This is because urban settlements are centers of energy intensive activities, including industrial, transportation, and other economic and commercial enterprises. Urban areas also modify their local and regional climate through the urban heat island effect and by altering precipitation patterns, which together will have significant impacts on net primary production, functions of ecosystem, and biodiversity. Urbanization also brings socio-political problems. There is an increase in number of slum areas and illegal settlers. Many children from poor families cannot afford to go to school, so they end up on the streets. The urban poor are trapped in a cycle of poverty and violence. Lack of formal education significantly loses their chance to get a decent job. As a result, many start having vices at a young age, and many other worse scenarios. Without the government and the world interventions, this cycle goes on and on. Removing environmental burden is an important task for both the cities and industries given their extreme resource consumption. The United Nations has made it one of their sustainable goals to make cities inclusive, resilient, and sustainable, and other goals pertaining to clean water, clean energy, and combating climate change. To achieve Goal 11, efforts must focus on implementing inclusive, resilient, and sustainable urban development policies and practices that prioritize access to basic needs, affordable housing, efficient transportation, and green spaces for all. By choosing to act sustainably, we choose to build cities where all citizens live a decent quality of life and form a part of the city's productive dynamic, creating shared prosperity and social stability without harming the environment.